Many people have this perception when they're starting out in business that going from being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur is just a matter of changing the way you work, that maybe you don't have to commute anymore and now you get to work from home and you get to set your own hours. Well, in my experience, what I've found the biggest shift that needs to happen if you're coming out of an experience of being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur is a shift in your identity to one of becoming an entrepreneur. And in order to do that, we have to shift our belief systems around our own identity and the way that we perceive money and the way that we achieve success and all these kinds of things that are necessary so that we can really step into that role of entrepreneur. So today, I'm going to unpack for you 5 spiritual money shifts that are energetic, belief systems and mindsets around money that differentiate employee mindset from entrepreneur mindset, and that are really fundamental and necessary for you to be able to step into the identity and the role of being an entrepreneur. So the first one is you need to learn to disconnect the notion of money from the concept of time. So when you're an employee, you're used to working dollars for hours, maybe, right? Like maybe you make $20 an hour in your job. So if you work 5 hours, you make $100. Or if you have a salary job, you know that every month you get paid X amount of money. And so after a certain amount of time goes by, after every 2 weeks or every month, you get paid out a certain amount, and that is consistent. So you learn to associate money proportional to time. And also in a lot of cases with jobs, it's not what you get paid is not based on your performance. It's based on you showing up and doing the things that you need to do, right? So oftentimes what happens when we go into business is that we expect that money is going to flow to a certain extent based on how many hours of work we put in. So as an entrepreneur, we have to throw this concept completely out the window because we often have to work many, many hours that we are not getting paid. And similarly, the advantage of it, that's, as terrible as that sounds, you also have the ability to make a lot of money in a very, very short period of time, right? That in an amount of time where you could say, well, there's no way I did enough work to be able to warrant making this amount of money. And so basically you have to realize it's in business, it's no longer about putting in a certain number of hours equals a certain amount of money. You have to toss that notion completely aside. And one of the things that I see, one of the traps that new entrepreneurs get into when they're initially creating offers is that they come in with this dollars per hour notion, and so they decide like my time is worth $200 an hour or $300 an hour, and so they're trying to sell their services based on the hour or how many hours they're going to give equals this amount of money. And so in the process of throwing away this association between time and money, what you need to do as an entrepreneur is look at what is the value of the transformation that I create, right? When you're creating offers, thinking about what is the value of the benefits and outcomes and results that I'm creating, and that my hours and different resources and things are included in that, but it has nothing to do with the amount of hours that are actually going into it. Okay. So it's a totally different way of looking at things. And this is really important because then we don't get caught in these traps of entitlement and expectation and frustration when we're like, I worked so many hours this week and I didn't make any money. And similarly, we can also open ourselves to the potential of, wow, I can make a lot of money in a short period of time, right? So the second mindset shift is realizing that when you're starting out in business, it's really important to invest in support before you can afford it, right? A lot of people have this attitude of like, well, I haven't made the money yet to be able to invest in support. And when we're doing it that way, it's kind of like we're saying, I need to lose weight before I go to the gym, right? It's like we need to prove something or we need to earn the ability to get support. And I think one kind of pervasive cultural belief system that we have in our society in general is that education is worth investing in, right? Having an academic training, getting our degrees is a valuable investment up front. But we don't think as entrepreneurs that we also need investment in education to learn how to become a business owner. Like for me, that was an integral part of my journey because nothing about business was intuitive for me. I needed to invest in mentorship and support to be able to get to where I am. And I have been investing at every stage of my journey all along because a mentor helps me to see a bigger vision than I would see for myself, helps to keep me accountable, helps me to keep moving forward and expanding my potential and the possibilities for myself. So ultimately, I'm getting where I want to be faster and more easily. And so when we're starting out, we need to really think about that, the importance of investing upfront to get the mentorship, which is ultimately going to save you time, save you grief, save you the mistakes that you're inevitably like you're going to make mistakes regardless, but you're going to make a lot more mistakes and it's going to be a lot slower of a go in terms of getting your business off the ground and making the sales that you want to be making and ultimately the money you want to be making if you try to kind of figure it out by yourself. You can absolutely do that. But when you're investing in support, you're really investing in speed and you're investing in like less struggle, less hassle, and things like that. So, that's kind of my number one recommendation for new entrepreneurs is to get that support. And a lot of that work initially is building the foundations and keeping you focused, putting your energy in the right places rather than getting distracted in all these different ways or putting the cart before the horse and doing things in a sequence that actually doesn't make sense or makes things a lot harder for you. And this is all stuff that we have to learn. It's part of building that identity of an entrepreneur is learning how to think in new ways, developing new skills that we've never had before. And it's totally okay if you have no clue what you're doing. Sales and marketing seems foreign to you because it was for me too when I was starting out. And that's why we have mentors. So the third one is when you're starting out and the two main activities in business, if you really want to kind of look at it from a big picture, are marketing and sales, right? Marketing is how you put your business out in the world and how you generate leads. And then sales is how you take those leads and turn them into sales, right? And money in your business and people that you're working with and serving and all that kind of thing. And when you're starting out in business, everything feels really personal, right? Like it's my business and my offers and my image and my brand and all these kinds of things. And we can get really self-conscious about that and really overthink things. And one of the shifts that we have to make as entrepreneurs is realizing that our business isn't about us, right? Sure, we are here to share our gifts. We're here to serve in a way that we are uniquely capable of and offering something that we absolutely love to offer. But the business isn't about us. It's really about the people that we're here to serve. And so marketing exists so that we can serve other people, so that we can speak to their needs and meet them where they are. And so the shift that needs to happen is to go from like, oh my gosh, this is all about me and what do I want and how do I feel about this, to what's in it for them. Thinking about, there's a saying in marketing, what's in it for me? Thinking about what can I say to an audience? If I was to write an email or if I was to write a post, am I putting myself in their shoes, into their experience and what's important to them and what's happening for them? Or am I thinking about it from my own self-conscious point of view? And when we can make that shift to make it about them, to speak to their desires and their wishes and the challenges that they're facing, then we really become of service. And it also takes away that self-consciousness and that that self-focus that makes us kind of hesitate and feel too cautious to move forward. So ultimately, it's a process of learning to just be of service and to give people what they need and to focus on them. The fourth mindset shift is going from seeing money as a finite resource to seeing as an infinite or infinite resource. So employees, because you're used to making money per hour, you're used to getting a certain paycheck or a certain salary every month, it's like that money goes into your account, and then okay, I withdraw some money for groceries, I withdraw some money for gas, I withdraw some money for my mortgage or my rent, and then when that money's gone, there's nothing left. I have to wait some time until my next paycheck arrives, right? It's like it fills up when you get your paycheck, and then you deplete the store, and then you have to wait some amount of time for that money to come back again. Entrepreneurs see it completely differently, right? When you are an entrepreneur, your income potential is unlimited. You can make you can work for you can put in a lot of hours and not make any money, and you can also make a lot of money in a short period of time. You don't need a lot of time to get a payoff, and there is no limit to what you can create. Really, the only limit is your energetic capacity to hold the money, and that's a topic for a different video. But really, like, you can grow your income exponentially, and that this is really important when you're thinking about how you're spending money, how you're investing money, and working with money and cash flow in your business. Because when you realize, okay, well, I can spend $5,000 on this expense, but I can also make $10,000 in a week, right? So it's like, it's not that big a deal, because it stops being about time, but it becomes more about the strategy and the energetics behind how you're making money. And that once you know and you have that confidence that you can make a certain amount of money and how you can make that money, it doesn't become such a big deal about investing or spending in things, because you can just make the money back, right? And there's a million ways, right? There's as many ways to make money as there are ideas. So the fifth mindset shift, and this is this is one that probably is the least popular mindset shift for those of you that are just starting out in business, which is being a business owner is hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it's a walk in the park. There are absolutely so many advantages to it. I know a little bit about what it's like, because I have had some jobs before I became an entrepreneur, and I know what the safety and security of being an employee feels like. And I also understand the downsides of maybe having a manager that you don't enjoy being around, or that the culture that you're in is unpleasant, and there's a price you pay for that safety and security of that predictable paycheck. And realizing also that being an entrepreneur is not an easy path, and it's not for everyone. You have to work hard. You have to be disciplined. You have to be putting in your effort, because the amount of income you make is going to be proportional to your ability, not just to take action, but to internally and spiritually grow and become the version of you that can make the amount of money that you want to make. And that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. It's not just taking the actions, but that the version of you that you are becoming internally is congruent and allowing you to receive the amount of money that you want to be making. And that's all part of the process. That's why I see business as a spiritual path, because you have to address all of your own fears and doubts and work through all of that stuff, and that your business will show you, your business will reveal to you all of your fears and doubts and hangups that need to be released in order for you to grow. And that's why I see money in business as, especially if you're on the spiritual path. I can't speak for absolutely everyone on earth, but if you're on the spiritual path, I see that money is just a byproduct and a reflection of the level of power that you hold, the level of power and responsibility and self-expression that you hold in your business. And that's such a beautiful thing. And so, yes, there are lots of advantages of being in business. I love that I can work from home. I love that I can choose my own hours. I love that I can create and sell what I want to sell and what I feel comes from my heart, that I feel guided to share. And it also means doing whatever it takes, right? Doing whatever it takes whenever it takes it, and to let go of any sense of entitlement of, oh, I put so many hours in, or I did all this stuff and then nothing happened, right? That you have to let go of all of your attachment to the outcome and trust the process, because the process isn't always going to give you what you want and the timeline that you want. And that it's all, whether it's, if we get too attached to making a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time, it also means that we're devaluing the importance of the internal growth and all the other things that need to happen along the way, right? And all of it is part of the journey. So lots of perks, unlimited income potential, set your own schedule, do what you love is all part of it. And it's hard work. It's going to require discipline. It requires effort in a way that maybe you've never experienced before. And that just comes with the territory. So you have to embrace it if this is what you want to do. And I just wanted to share one quick last bonus mindset shift. And this one is kind of a little bit more advanced. That's why I made it an unofficial bonus tip, is that when you're new to business, you're really focused on making money on the front end. You're really focused on how quickly can I get some money in the door ASAP, right? And what that can look like is, let's say you wanted to offer a workshop and you want to charge a lot of money for it because your transformation and your time is really valuable, right? Well, experienced entrepreneurs focus on making money on the back end or making money in the long term. So they understand that although there's that temptation to create security by getting money in the door right away, that creating that commitment and that cultivating that trust and that familiarity and that service for people so that they can commit to an even bigger transformation and make an even bigger investment later on actually pays off a lot more. So rather than thinking about how do I create money in the short term and create that instant gratification, experienced entrepreneurs, and this requires strategy and thought, and this is partly why you work with a mentor to kind of sort out what that looks like, but thinking about, okay, well, how do I create lasting sustainable income in the long term? Oftentimes that means foregoing the instant gratification in favor of creating something that is going to pay off more in the long term. So that's what I have for you today. Let's recap quickly the 5 mindset shifts. To shift from employee to entrepreneur, you need to disconnect your concept of money from time. You need to invest in support before you can afford it. When it comes to marketing and selling, to stop making it about you and make it about your ideal clients, make it about service. Number 4, money goes from being a finite resource to an infinite resource, to becoming an unlimited potential, income potential. And lastly, business is hard. Be prepared to work. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you found this video at all valuable, please give it a like and do subscribe to the channel to receive more valuable insights on how to grow your 6-figure soul-based business. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.